My name is Richard, and this is If You Only Knew. Today's episode is titled, Nothing is Ever Truly Deleted. Threats, Blackmail and Bribes, the Storm Approaches. Now, before we get into today's report, I have some exciting news. If you want to support If You Only Knew, I'm thrilled to announce that If You Only Knew is now a proud affiliate of My Daily Choice, the leading made in the USA CBD, which is also organic, non-GMO, and 100% USA grown CBD from hemp that's grown right here in the USA. People use CBD for a variety of health issues, though it can be confusing, however, as to which brands to trust in regards to purity. Well, look no further. This is the highest quality that you will find, with 3 strengths of oils, 7 flavors, but there's also lotions, shampoos, essential oils, treats for pets, CBD skincare, hemp hair care, CBD, and chaga mushroom coffee. Check out ifyouonlyknewcbd.com or check the link below. Now, if you've been on social media within the past 24 hours, or if you watch Newsmax interview with Mike Pompeo, you know that the 35,000 Hillary Clinton emails have been released to the public.
Those that are inside the State Department, the American people should know. We will get them out. Many of them on our website today. You can go to state.gov and see many of them. But if there are others that are somewhere sitting inside the State Department, know full well that President Trump and I will ensure that the American people get a chance to see them as it's appropriate and as soon as we can get them out.
Now, if this is the first time you're learning about this, you should come as no surprise, since the mainstream media is not going to report on something that was probably going to incriminate them. So as Newsmax, I have yet to see any other outlet pick this up. Jack Posobiec tweeted about this, but I've yet to hear about this on OAN officially. But we certainly don't expect to see this on Fox or any of the mainstream outlets. I must have shared this link with a dozen people who was posting a story about Pompeo planning to release the emails to the public. Now, if you want to see them for yourself, you can go to the FOIA state.gov and search Clinton emails. It's really that simple, and they're all there from the Freedom of Information Act search page, where you can just, again, type Clinton emails, and there'll be 35,000 search results. Now, there's 20 emails per page, which you can easily navigate and preview by using the arrows to go from one to the next email. But given the immensity of this task, I would estimate that it would be probably at least a few days to find key emails with almost 1,800 pages of search results to scrutinize. I only looked at a few, but just on this first page, I came across one that caught my eye. Clinton then pleasantly surprised China by saying to the Obama administration would not let its human rights concerns interfere with cooperating with Beijing. We know there's going to be a lot worse than this, and that there'll be all kinds of rabbit holes. I'm talking about Uranium One, Benghazi, Haiti, crimes against humanity, and this will all connect to corrupt politicians, which will lead us to even more. Now, this email was fairly obvious in its meaning, but others might not be. Remember that these deep state bad actors use comms to post on social media, along with the use of symbolism. So we might see those comms here in these emails as well. We can expect it to likely carry into next week, but this isn't the only development regarding Hillary Clinton by any means. Now, we know there's more emails on the Wiener laptop as well, and we're going to hear about them in the immediate future. But what's in these emails that she deleted classified information? Well, there's nothing to hide. You don't delete 30-something thousand emails. Remember that the Patriots have everything already, and that the NSA, well, they see everything. They had it all. But we need to remember optics and perceptions of the public. This really wasn't about arrests, indictments, or getting Obama. It was about waking up the people to see everything for the first time. Because for all this time, the people have been asleep, and they only started waking up as a result of the quarantine and the rioting. Now, don't get me wrong, more people are awake than ever, but in the liberal-dominant cities, most of these people didn't hear about the Senate report on Hunter Biden, recently confirmed by the Treasury, or the Ratcliffe memo implicating Hillary Clinton as the ringleader of Russian collusion plot against the president. Nope, these people know nothing of these and either of these massive developments. So, yes, many people are awake, but it's a silent majority who are. And I mention this because now we're at that moment before this bigger curtain drops. Now, as I mentioned last week, Durham was handed the Clinton Foundation case. Now, based on the timing of the Ratcliffe memo, it would appear that this is part of the Patriots' plan to use Hillary Clinton, the emails, and the Russian collusion to expose Haiti and the crimes against humanity. We also see these emails will likely tie into all of the various schemes the Clintons have been a party to. On top of these emails, on top of uranium, on top of Benghazi, on top of pay-to-play schemes and so forth. It's going to be interesting to see what charges will be made because there's so much to work with, and we know that this was all planned to come out at the right time, which I believe is almost here. Now, I do expect some to remain skeptical and say to themselves, well, wake me when it does happen, but I believe that we're about to see that. In the meantime, here's another Hillary Clinton development. The Clintons have also lost a major case that alleges the IRS was in on covering up that the foundation owed as much as $2.5 billion in back taxes, will now be liable for these funds. Will they buy themselves time? Well, probably. But this is on top of everything. And I think we're going to just hear a lot more on the Clinton Foundation in October. But in the meantime, the DNI released 1,000 pages of materials to the Durham investigation. Now, unfortunately, we come to learn that the Durham and Barr report on Spygate will not be ready for the election, but we know that it is now expanded much further, and it's going to take more time. But all that really matters right now is the election. Think optics. What would happen if Durham had come forward right now with indictments and the president made arrests right now? Would the deep state's mainstream media spin this to make it look like the president is acting like a dictator? Yeah, I do believe they would do this, as this has always been their plan. However, what was not their plan was for the president, the ODNI, and all other agencies to declass a flood of information throughout the month of October until the election, until they exposed the corrupt politicians and the mainstream media. Here's a tweet from Stonewall Jackson. Forget Barr and Durham. Pompeo just announced that he has Hillary Clinton's deleted classified emails and is in the process of releasing them publicly right now. Here's a tweet from Absolute 1666 that reads, there will be no arrest for the election. The emails come first. The emails are how to introduce this to the public. The emails lead to the arrests, and how perfectly that nearly 4 years to the date, the emails will be their undoing boomerang. Remember? Drip, 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 flood. Now it's all coming out, and they're desperately panicking and realizing that they're not in control. They believe they put blocks in place, but the Patriots knew that they would attempt this. Remember, Brennan had someone say for him on his behalf that he was not under investigation. And then this week, we saw the declassifying of the Brennan notes, which ended up really being posted notes on the report, but nonetheless implicates Brennan and Clinton in the plot to blame the president for Russian collusion. I do believe that Gina Haspel is another one of those blocks. Only, like I said, this is planned. We know the president selected Haspel, and for a good reason. He knew that she would attempt this and that the Patriots were watching them the entire time. Here's another tweet from Praying Medic. How do you know a storm is coming? People start looking for cover. While Hillary Clinton is being exposed for Russia through the Ratcliffe memo, the Treasury has confirmed payment to Hunter Biden from the Ukraine mayor's wife. Paul Sperry tweets, breaking, House investigators have now joined the Senate in requesting the FBI open a criminal investigation into possible foreign influence peddling and embezzlement involving Joe Biden and his younger brother and son based on suspicious financial activities flagged by the Treasury. We will watch this as it develops, but we know that from the Patriots that FBI Director Wray is a sleeper and that he is stonewalling on Hunter Biden's behalf. Now, after Doug Collins' letter last week demanding the resignation of Wray, and based on the findings being released, I would expect Wray to resign, or for some D-class to drop that forces Wray to resign. But that's speculation only. The people who are awake are seeing this, and they are demanding justice. Many are frustrated and very disillusioned. Here's a tweet from Lynn Wood. It feels like a storm cloud is slowly descending over the country as if darkness is dimming light. The people are demanding justice. Justice from the Durham investigation seems illusory. Remember, it's always the darkest before the dawn. Bad actors want you to be discouraged. Don't be. And I have to agree. There's so much already happening as we begin October, and we've just come to learn that the upcoming Guantanamo trials could be broadcasted thanks to a recent House measure. Here's Praying Medic trolling John Brennan that he might get his own TV show. I do believe this has been set up for a reason, even if many don't see the light at the end of the tunnel this particular moment. Remember that the president is no ordinary president. You're watching a movie, and that the Patriots plan to release at the right time. And right now what's important is optics and winning the election. We know that Americans are not embracing these extreme ideas, as well as this study shows how the left has only moved further left, but the right hasn't only moved further right. We know that registration for Republicans is way up, and that many are choosing to join the walk-away movement and leave the Democratic Party. We're not seeing tremendous enthusiasm for the party. The rally hasn't been a successful event for Biden, as you could see from this post. But check this out. This is another post that's separate. Now, when this person posted a photo of an empty stage, the Facebook fact checkers, they flagged the post. Now, why would they do this? Are they instructed to do this for damage control? Maybe. On a related note, Twitter will now also censor retweets to help slow the spread of information, or other facts, as they get more and more desperate to control the narrative. After all, everything to stop the president has pretty much failed. Let's not forget that there was an assassination attempt with Ryzen just 2 weeks ago. We've all pretty much long forgotten now with all that's happening every day. Regardless, the president keeps winning, despite all the projection that he's losing in polls like this one from Europe. This election is going to be the greatest victory and possibly the greatest upset in history as well. Now, it was just a week ago that the president battled COVID and left liberals speechless, and in some cases enraged that he recovered so quickly. As I'd mentioned in the previous video, the president used the testing positive of COVID to demonstrate how effective Regeneron is for the treatment of COVID. On top of that, they're fast-tracking the process to have the drug available for free. This will be interesting to see how this plays out. As we know, the deep state and the corrupt politicians were planning on pushing a second wave. However, in the UK, 12,000 scientists have now united to stand against the lockdowns. This should be front-page news, but as expected, the story isn't something you'll probably see on NBC. This is all they can do, censor, like they did for the sign that was taken down on the same day. But did you hear about it on the news? Probably not. And did you see anything like this level of excitement done for Biden? What you are seeing here are Jewish people who are protesting the city's violations of their religious freedoms, and they're waving Trump flags. You continuously see overwhelming amounts of support for the president as well as for patriotism. All over the country, you're seeing people with flags on the side of the road, and you're seeing people uniting when it also comes to things like boycotts. You won't see BLM on the basketball courts come after 2020, after the ratings tanked. Now, it'll only be a matter of time before the other sports cave as well. However, despite the pushback, the larger civil unrest-based, race-based agenda is still continuing to be pushed on consumers, as Yelp is now adopting a racist reporting feature. Now, we know this isn't going to work, and at some point there'll be lawsuits, but as we move closer to the election, the propaganda is only going to ramp up. We even see Michelle Obama say that it's morally wrong and racist to say that the BLM riots are violent. Still the same propaganda, while everyday Americans are seeing the truth and recording it and putting it on social media, just like this video of BLM harassing a local Trader Joe's in Seattle. Take a listen.
I guess to go to the Trader Joe's. This is a new one, guys.
They're not allowed to have masks that have anything on them, but yeah, I see Trader Joe's on them all the time. That's insignia, that's right. You guys can have patterns, but the moment someone puts on a Black Lives Matter mask that works for Trader Joe's, all shit hits the fan. How you doing back there, sir? I would like for you to call the police if that's what you're doing. We would like to tell them about how racist their organization is as well. We're in no rush. You guys still do your business, go about your day, but just educate yourselves. Know where you're spending your money. I mean, yeah, they got a lot of expensive health food here that black people most likely in this country can't afford.
Also regarding BLM, it would appear that one of 6 men who had plotted to kidnap Governor Whitmer had regularly attended BLM marches and openly stated how Trump was a tyrant, despite the media's claim that these 6 men were Trump supporters. Again, the narrative fails that the violence is caused by the right or that these were Trump supporters. But also regarding BLM, there was a breaking story exposed by Trevor Loudon. Most of the riots that racked the United States within the last few months were organized by socialist organizations that have close ties within the CCP, said Trevor Loudon, author and filmmaker who has been researching radical and terrorist groups and their covert influence on mainstream politics for more than 30 years. Also regarding China, it was reported that during the debate when Pence was talking about China, the signal was suddenly cut, as you could see in this post. In this Pew Studies slide, you could see that China is now at its lowest public opinion, as a result of the growing awareness of the danger that China is becoming to the United States. Going back to the debate, we all saw the infamous fly moment and how, upon closer inspection, it didn't have a trajectory. It just fades in and out of the picture. Now, many would guess that this is a way to distract from Kamala Harris's lack of performance at the debate. Regardless, the mainstream media saw this as a way out, and they took it. It also was discovered that 20 minutes before the incident took place that the domain of the Fly Will Vote was purchased at the same time on GoDaddy.com. Another coincidence. Now, while we're on the subject of the debates, we know that the debate with Kamala Harris was not a victory. Vice President Pence delivered a strong performance. James Woods tweeted, "Final takeaway. Mike Pence was a gentleman, forthright and focused. He delivers his plan for America brilliantly. Kamala Harris behaved like a valley girl, smirking and rolling her eyes like a petulant brat, dodging every question she was asked." Vice President Pence's performance at the debates with Harris exposed Biden's position on fracking. The vice president set its targets to the agenda, which you can actually access and see firsthand on Joe Biden's website at joebiden.com. Now, you may recall the president referring to this document as a manifesto, which Biden outright denied existed. Well, I reviewed it, and I considered doing an episode to review some of the more extreme policies I found on the manifesto. One example of such would be that if Joe Biden were elected, he wants to end the use of private prisons and detention centers. Recently, Colin Kaepernick was quoted as endorsing a similar concept, not surprising. But going back to Joe Biden, we also come to learn this week that Steve Scully, an ex-intern of Joe Biden, left a tweet on his profile that looked like it was meant to be a direct message intended for former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, asking for advice on responding to the president. Well, needless to say, this has put an end to this person hosting an upcoming debate. It's also highlighted how obviously rigged each event has been. We certainly suspected Biden for wearing something to come across as lucid as he did in the previous debate, more so than he normally does. And now there's also photos that suggest that Kamala Harris could have also worn an earpiece. Maybe. Now, while we are on Biden, I also want to discuss one last thing. This week, Nancy Pelosi proposed a 25th Amendment, many of which are suggesting will be used to replace Biden with Harris down the line. I do believe this could be the start of the setup to remove Biden and bring in the real candidate. We talked about this, and now we see what could easily be the first step, while Nancy Pelosi claims that this was not intended for the president. By the way, while we're on Nancy Pelosi, it was discovered this week that Pelosi was also an investor of CloudStrike, which won't look good once the president has won the election. Do you think Nancy Pelosi is panicking? And we can only expect that the panic levels are going to rise, as well as the levels of crazy. If you haven't heard this rant by Keith Olbermann, listen to this.
And then he and his enablers and his supporters and his collaborators and the Mike Lees and the William Barrs and the Sean Hannitys and the Mike Pences and the Rudy Giulianis and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Amy Coney Barretts must be prosecuted and convicted and removed from our society while we try to rebuild it and to rebuild the world Trump has nearly destroyed by turning it over to a virus.
Yeah, that is definitely panic or being triggered or whatever you want to call this. But next week, we're going to have the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett, which will likely also mean a surge in protests. So make sure you keep your head in a swivel this coming week. I want to say thank you for watching. If you wish to support the channel, you can hit that thumbs up button. You can subscribe if you haven't. Even better, you can share the video because you either want to share the information or you want to show support the channel. You can follow the channel on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Parler. By the way, I post different stuff in each platform, so you have a reason to follow me on all the social networks. Also, I do accept donations via PayPal. This channel is not monetized. It is 100% supported by you, the viewers. Lastly, you can support me by purchasing from ifyouonlyknewcbd.com. Check out ifyouonlyknewcbd.com or click the link below. As always, I like to end on an upbeat note with the president returning to health with the aid of a new therapeutic Regeneron as a cure for COVID. Here's In Pursuit of Truth's video from August about another type of cure, the red pill. Make sure you follow them on social media as well. My name is Richard, and this is If You Only Knew.
Are you tired of calling your friends racist, even though you're not really sure if they are? Are you tired of Black Lives Matter crapping all over your narrative that Black Lives Matter? Are people calling you Karen? and you're tired of them calling you Karen. Even though your name is Karen, and now you're caring about being called Karen. Did you just send that racist tweet? You sure did. Nazi. Are you tired of creating clever Twitter responses, only to have your opponent respond with, "Lol, you mad?" Did you just tell that lab scientist to do his own research, only to have him respond by furnishing his own research? Stupid move, kid. Did you just post to all your social media accounts that there's a war in Syria, only to find out that the video was from 2017 and from Kentucky? Oh boy. Are you suffering from fake news overload and so tired of... The hell is wrong with this lady? Day by day, people are waking up to the alarming fact that there's no such thing as murder hornets and are seeking help. And when they do, and they will, we'll be ready. For those that are waking up, there's Red Pill. Red Pill may not be right for everybody, but it might be right for you. And you. Red Pill may cause the sudden awareness that most of what you see on TV is total crap. Red Pill may cause sudden bouts of laughter and the experience of a sense of humor at the absurdity of it all, as well as the staunch realization that the entire world is not dying of coronavirus. Some users of Red Pill have experienced sensations of not giving a crap, just like this guy at the beach, in a suit. Not giving a crap. Side effects of Red Pill have included thinking for yourself, doing your own research, understanding that the Obama administration spied on a duly elected president, and that Hollywood is a gang of psychos, mistrust of politicians and the media, and he's gone. Red Pill may or may not be right for some children, just like Disney movies. So ask yourself if Red Pill may be right for you. Red Pill. Stop being such a freaking jerk.